Hello, my name is David Niels. I'm here in northern Colorado, and today I want to cover a system I put together called the 10 Essentials Plus. You'll find many lists out on the web for the 10 Essentials. These are items you want in your pack, whether you're out for the day or on a multi-day trip. We'll start with these 10 Essentials, and then I'll talk about the important plus part that I've added. So the first item on the list is navigation. You want to know how to use a map and a compass. I really like this Silva compass because it has a notch right here which allows me to sight much more accurately. So I like a compass that has a folding mirrored top. So I'd recommend that. The maps that I prefer to use are the National Geographic Trails Illustrated maps. These maps are fantastic. They have shaded relief, and they have a lot of information in the margins, including the 10 Essentials list that will help you when you're preparing or when you're out in the field. They're also waterproof and they last for years and years. If you don't know how to use a map and compass, you can sign up for an orienteering course through REI or many other organizations, certified organizations. Here in Colorado, we have the Colorado Mountain Club. I offer courses through wildnaturemedia.com. Make sure you know how to use a map and compass. You can start with just watching YouTube videos, but I would recommend taking a class. The next item on the list, now this may not seem like a navigation item, but it is so important. I have it right at the beginning, and that is a whistle. I like these storm whistles. These you can purchase off of Amazon or at REI, or here in Colorado, Jack's Outdoor Gear. They have these whistles. They're about $10 a piece. These are so loud you have to plug your ears when you blow on them, and they can be heard over a quarter mile away. If you get lost, you can only yell for so long before your voice gives out, but as long as you're breathing, you can still blow on a whistle. I know people that have died because their voice gave out and they didn't have a whistle. A $10 whistle would have saved them. Make sure you have one of these. I prefer to have it around my neck and just stick it in my pocket so it's ready. I've also used it very effectively on black bear and moose, and it's handy for calling my dog if need be. So make sure you have one of these really loud whistles. Get a decent one. Don't get the little cheap one that you can only hear for a few hundred yards. Get something like the storm whistle and keep it with you all the time. The next item on the list for navigation is just my phone, just my smartphone. I bring that up because I use the app Gaia GPS. I really like it. You can use All Trails or Onyx Maps. A couple of things that I love about Gaia GPS is it syncs automatically between my phone and my laptop as long as I'm within cell range and my laptop has a connection to the internet. It also has fantastic layers. A couple that I'll just mention now. Gaia GPS includes all of these National Geographic Trails Illustrated maps. So these are $9 to $12, and you get all of them with Gaia GPS for $30 a year. Another layer that I really like is a satellite view that has the contour lines, has the topographic lines on it. This makes it really nice for navigating. If you know the elevation that you're at and you want to navigate same elevation over to let's say corner of a meadow 2 miles away, you can just stay on contour and follow around without having to get your map and compass out on a regular basis. So these are the main items for navigation. I also carry one of these spot units from findmespot.com. This is a personal locator beacon with lots of great features on it. I'll talk more about this in the plus part. The second item out of the 10 is illumination. I like to carry a handheld flashlight. This one takes two AA's, and then a heavy-duty headlamp. You can get a lighter headlamp This one takes 4 AA's, will last for weeks. I always use lithium batteries, and I try and standardize on all my equipment using the same batteries. The third item on the list is sun protection. I like the Neutrogena, 70 SPF sunscreen. Just be careful when you use it around your eyes. You don't get it really close to your eyes because it can be irritating. But it dries fast, works great. Other items, bandana, really useful, regular bandana. I also like these neck gaiters. These are super useful. You can pull them up. You can protect your whole head. Fly fishermen use these. Of course, carry a hat. I always have an extra one. And then I like these fly fishing gloves to protect the back of my hand. Sunscreen comes off the hand pretty quickly, and these work really well. If you're out in bright sun, you might consider getting a pair. They weigh almost nothing. So that's sun protection. The fourth item is first aid. I buy a kit, for a couple of people for a few days, and then I add to it. So I make sure that I have extra moleskin, extra lighters. I have a really nice pair of surgical scissors in here. If you're on certain medications, you want to make sure you have 2 or 3 days supply in your medical kit, and put a reminder on your calendar to replace them when they expire. Okay, the fifth item on the list is having a knife. I use just a folding knife. This one weighs, by Kershaw, just a few ounces. I also like to have a multi-tool. Just make sure the tool that you have has all of the included tools that you like. This Gerber works really well for me. I also like to carry some zip ties and extra duct tape, which I have wrapped around lighters. Okay, number 6 is fire. Speaking of lighters, I carry 2, like I said, with duct tape wrapped around. I also have these long-handled matches that work really well. These come with extra strikers. The strikers on the side, and it's in a waterproof container, which goes in my waterproof dry bag as well. 7 is shelter. This is a great company, Survive Outdoors Longer. This is a bivy sack that you can climb into, so it doesn't have any drafts, and you can pull it over your head. I've tested this out. In fact, I've tested all this equipment just pretending that I got lost and spent the night out. So spent the night out without a pad, without a sleeping bag, without a tent, just with the gear that you see here. And this made all the difference in the world. And I'll talk about some adjustments that I made at the end based on those experiences. So the 8th item on the list is nutrition. I like to carry 3 extra bars in my bag per day that I may be out. I like Cliff Bars. If you have a soy allergy, you might also consider a Kind bar. Okay, number 9 is water. You want to be fully hydrated when you're out there. I prefer these platypus bags for water. One of the main reasons is you can squeeze the air out of them and they don't make noise in your pack. I like to have a quiet pack, and they have no plastic taste whatsoever. Many of the places I go, especially off trail, the stream depth may only be 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and having extra Ziploc bags, these are always handy, but they're really handy for capturing water. So you just lay it down, let the water run into it, pick it up. If you have a pump, let the sediment drop to the bottom. if you have a gravity fed system, then you can just pour this water into that to filter it. It's also a good idea just to carry extra iodine tablets for water purification in your first aid kit. Okay, so that's number 9. Number 10 is clothing, extra clothing. I like to have in a Ziploc bag again, extra socks. These are merino wool, and these are calf length socks. They're compression socks. They work really well when you're sleeping. So I'd recommend these. I'd also recommend a lightweight balaclava. These are the kind that would go under, let's say, a ski helmet when you're downhill skiing. These are really nice, especially for sleeping. I also like layers, lots of layers, and so this is a merino wool long underwear top. For my hands, I like to have dry hands, and the love of my life, Jenny, made these for me. These are alpaca wool mittens, and there's no material that keeps my hands warmer or drier. So if you can get some alpaca wool, and very few people are allergic to it, you might want to try that out. When I tested this gear, a couple of things that really stood out that I wanted. One was this balaclava. The other was a down vest. So I always have this in my pack. So my clothing is always in my pack. These are the items that go in my 10 essentials bag, and I use this dry bag, and it's a 4-liter bag from sea to summit, and all of these items then go back in the bag. I'm going to keep this out for the plus part of the presentation. So there you go. This is the 10 essentials bag that's in my pack. It weighs just under 4 pounds, 3 pounds 14 ounces, and the water is out in my pack along with my clothing. I have this 10 essentials list and the plus portion, which I'll talk about, on my website at wildnaturemedia.com. You can look under the resources tab. Okay, now that we have covered the 10 essentials that you want in your pack, whether you're out day hiking or backpacking, I'm going to cover a few more items that I typically carry with me that may be of value. First of all, especially later in the fall, I like to have a stove and a pot to heat water. Another real valuable reason to have a stove, and this is really small and weighs almost nothing, just fits in my hand. Let's say that it's pouring down rain, you're trying to get a fire going. Yes, you can use matches, you can use flint and steel, you can use a lighter, but the absolute best thing is to use a stove. Put this thing on full blast, take material, put it over the top. Even if it's wet, it's going to dry out quickly and you can get a fire going in no time. By far the easiest way to get a fire going. So that is one item that I like to have later in the fall. Second item, I really like these gravity-fed water filtration systems. You know, rather than using a pump or a Steri-Pen, this is a 6-liter gravity-fed water system. So you basically hang it, fill it up, water is filtered, comes out, put it into your clean, platypus or other water bottle. There are no parts that are going to wear out or break on this. You just have to replace the filter. You know, I replace it once a year, and that seems to work really well. Another item that's nice to have is a heavy-duty 55-gallon drum garbage bag, and you can even order these online in bright orange, which makes another great signaling device when people are looking for you from the air. So you might want to do that. Third, my parka. Now this parka, this Marmot parka, fully depreciated. I bought this in 1986. It's fall 2020 now. Still works great. Had to apply some waterproof spray on the shoulders, but other than that, works fantastic. Another item that I like to use when I want to go as light as possible, rather than bringing a tent, I'll bring this minimalist bivy sack. This one's from REI, and that's all I need in addition to the standard space blanket. This is rectangular in shape, and I can make a lean-to and have a place to get out of the weather. It also reflects the heat from a fire, reflects my body heat back onto me. So this, with this, replaces my tent and allows me to be very comfortable. One more item you may want to have with you is a trekking pole. I actually found this up at Red Mountain Open Space several years ago, and last year I was checking my cameras. I film mountain lions, and I was checking my remote cameras, and while a female lion was caterwauling down the slope about 150 yards below me, I was moving as fast as I could because I didn't want her to come in and see me and know that a human had been to that location. And I left this trekking pole on the ground by one of my cameras, and she came in 20 minutes after I left and stepped on it and popped it up, which I'll show you. So that is basically it. Again, the 10 essentials, some additional items. The last thing I want to talk about is the plus part of the 10 Essentials Plus and how I use this spot unit. When I looked at the backcountry deaths in Colorado over the last 20 years, I found over and over again people were missing these elements in terms of preparation. Really simple. Create a route, create an itinerary, have 2 contacts that would like to see you back, and you share your route, your itinerary, and you're very clear with them that what medications you're on, if you're allergic to anything, all that information is known. They know where you're going, they know your physical ability, they have an idea of the activity that you're going to be involved in, whether it's kayaking or climbing or cross-country skiing or hiking, backpacking, and you have agreed that you're going to connect when you get back and close the loop. So the way that I use this unit here, this spot unit, I turn it on when I'm in my driveway before I leave on my adventure, and then once it's on, I send an I'm okay message from my driveway. So I wait till that's green, and once that's blinking, now my 2 contacts, Dave and Jason, are going to get this message. Then I turn the tracking on, so that shares my location every 5 minutes from the time I leave home to the time I get back. I could drive off the road. There are a number of things that could happen even while I'm in my vehicle. Once I get to the location where I'm leaving my vehicle, I press the I'm okay button again, and they know, okay, David's leaving his vehicle, starting his adventure away from his vehicle. When I get back to the vehicle, whether that's just for the afternoon, a full day, or multi-day, I have a custom message that I created which says David Niels is back at his vehicle and driving home. I leave the tracking on in case I drive off the road. And that way, if something happens and I do not return by the agreed upon time and contact them, they can go online and they can look exactly where I'm at, down to a 10-foot circle, and notify search and rescue. I want the search and rescue to be so easy that they find me within a few hours, and those guys and gals are having pizza and beer that evening. They're not going to be looking for me for multiple days. So create a route. I like to use Google Earth to create the route, and then I import it into Gaia GPS. Create an itinerary. Let them know where you're going to park, what type of adventure you're going to be on, if you're camping, the places you're going to camp, when you're going to be back, and then close the loop when you get back. There are 3 questions that you want to have answers to if you have to spend the night out unexpectedly. Number 1, who knows my current location? Number 2, when do they expect me back? Number 3, what are they going to do when I don't return by that time? You want solid answers to these questions before you leave home, and you can do that by following the plus part of this system. So again, creating a route, itinerary, having 2 contacts, sharing any medical information, any allergic information, and have an agreed upon plan if you do not return by the specified time. And just get in the habit of doing that. I do that when I'm just going out for the afternoon. If you have any questions about this, please contact me at wildnaturemedia.com.